Futures trading involves a substantial risk of loss and may not be suitable for all investors. Therefore, carefully consider whether such trading is suitable for you in light of your financial condition.
Good morning. It's Monday, April 6th. I'm Phil Streible, Chief Market Strategist at Blue Line Futures. So looking at the big picture here overnight, U.S. stock futures, they are edging higher as crude oil dipped, as investors are really focused on a report to push to secure a potential ceasefire with the conflict in Iran. Trump also gave a 48-hour ultimatum to reopen the Straits of Hormuz. He will have a press conference at noon here Central Time in Washington. Now, the waterway did see about 21 ships transit over the weekend, and looking ahead, we're seeing economic data come out with traders really focused on Friday's CPI report with expectations of a 1% increase. That would be the sharpest one-month advance here since 2022. And after the Iranian war pushed gas prices up about $1 per gallon, that's where we're really going to see that weigh in here on CPI. Now you look at May crude oil overnight here, high 115.48, lows 108.89 with futures trading just over 110. That's on the May WTI crude oil, 110.40 last, down about $1.20 with quite a bit of volatility happening. You got about a 20-day exponential average range on crude oil at $8.22 and oil volatility, that's OVX, sitting at 93.14. So the traffic through the Straits of Hormuz has climbed to the highest level since the early days of the war, as many countries are really looking to secure that apparent safe passage agreement with Iran. It's mostly been Iranian vessels. However, Iraq and also India have had vessels transit through the strait, with Iran granting exemptions and also negotiating on agreements. We did have an OPEC Plus meeting on Sunday, and they do warn that a lot of the damage that's been done to Middle Eastern energy assets will have a prolonged impact on oil supply, even if the conflict comes to an end. They did come out and they did raise their quotas here, and I'll look at securing increased output, but we're probably not going to see much of that flow through here until they can get that straight open. Now looking at June gold, the high of the overnight session 47.3310, the low 46.2620. Futures just dipped here a slight bit, and it was across the board with oil futures ticking just a notch higher here. You look at the gold volatility sitting at about $182 per session, and then we are sitting at 37.85 as far as the gold volatility index. You look at May silver, the high of the overnight session is 73.72, the low 71.30, and the 20-day exponential average to range $5.44. Silver volatility sitting at 71.68. Now the ETF flows, they're buying gold. However, they're still selling silver, platinum, palladium, with gold ETF flows jumping up about 0.2% in the previous trading session. So they added about 155,000 troy ounces. Third straight day of growth, longest winning streak since February 27th. Total gold held by ETFs down about 0.6% this year, with gold up 8.3% this year coming into today's session. However, it fell 1.7% on that previous trading session. So silver ETF flows essentially unchanged. Year to date, down 7.6%. They did cut about 215,000 troy ounces of silver in their holdings. And again, you've got 11 straight days of outflows in the ETFs for platinum, 5 straight days of outflows for palladium. You'll get the gold-silver ratio sitting at 64-1, and the economic calendar will just have ISM services due out for March here at 9 a.m. Central Time. Now you look at the 10-year Treasury yield sitting at about 4.35%, with 10-year futures dipping back below 111. For Fed interest rate expectations here, the current target rate is 3.5 to 3.75%. It's kind of all over the place as far as slight chance for a hike in April, slight chance of a cut in June. You got to September, and it's both on the fence of either a cut or a hike, sitting at 3.8% chance of this cut and 5.8% chance for a hike. So it's really looking for more clarity as far as what's going to happen with this conflict and how fast can we get energy prices lower. You get the dollar index, it's down 12 at 99.73.5, and the euro currency sits at 115.87.5. All the foreign currencies are up on the overnight session. You look at the grains, soybeans are the only ones that's up. You got corn down about 1 3/4, wheat slightly lower as well. You go to Bitcoin futures sitting right around 70,000. Kind of surprised here at the movement that we're seeing in some of these cryptocurrencies, with Bitcoin tacking on almost 5%. The S&P gamma exposure does remain negative here, which will amplify some of the moves in both directions. You go over to Europe, well, those markets are closed here for their Easter Monday holiday. And you go to Asian trading here, those stocks did gain with the MSCI Asia Pacific Index, taking on about 0.8%. So we'll do a little bit more coverage on the oil market and some of these other markets here that are really being impacted by the conflict. So keep an eye on things here. The volatility and also the volume should still be a bit lighter here with Europe off on their session here. And then if you need anything, be sure to send an email, info@bluelionfutures.com. Remember, futures and option trading does involve risk of loss, may not be suitable to all investors. Good luck, good trading.
Futures trading involves a substantial risk of loss and may not be suitable for all investors. Therefore, carefully consider whether such trading is suitable for you in light of your financial condition.